Hey everybody, what's going on? Hope y'all doing well on this Thursday early evening. I'm just getting home about 30 minutes ago. I just wanted to say today was a very interesting day. I If you are in the workforce, you probably already know, especially if you work in corporate America, you know probably about all kind of weird things and silly politics, people getting away with doing something wrong. And then another person turns around and does the same thing, and that person gets attacked. Even if it's by, default, maybe they didn't know any better, but they still get attacked. The other person willfully does the bad thing, willfully, but nobody ever says anything to that person. Well, today I had an experience something like that. Today I had a situation actually about a month ago, toward the first of the month, a month ago, and I'm talking to this individual, and there was an issue, and we talked about how to solve it. So let's fast forward this month. I'm expecting that issue is going to be solved. So I go to this individual and I remind him of our talk last month. And you know what's before I even go any further, I told a few people I'll bet any kind of money this person reneges on his word. True enough, I went to talk to this person about the situation, and the person reneged. Not only did they renege, this person said that he never told me what I reminded him what we discussed. How about that, huh? A second issue. We have a second issue, and we have a issue that periodically happens, and it's because of forces. Let's just say it's forces beyond my control, and I guess beyond his control also. However, that repetitive issue occurs, right? It occurs again. And I say, hey, this issue recurred in this instance because of such and such dynamic. There's a dynamic involved that keeps our hands tied. This person turns around and said, oh, really? I did not know that. This is the first I've heard of it. I just looked at him because the dude's a bald faced liar. I just looked at him, and I kid you not, I've heard the expression empty blank stare before. This guy looked me directly in the eye, and I peered in both his eyeballs. We were standing face to face this conversation. I peered into both of his eyeballs, and it was nothing behind them, blank. The guy straight up lied. And the reason why I say he lied is because I mentioned that third dynamic that sometimes prevent us from getting a certain task accomplished. I mentioned that third dynamic on a few occasions. And he had the nerve to look me in the eye and say this is the first I've ever heard of that. He asked me if I had any proof or paperwork backup. I'm like, dude, are you serious? So I speak with some of his people that work under him. Here's something interesting. They knew, they remembered when I told them this thing, this third dynamic in a meeting we had. They remembered it. They remembered that particular incident. I mean, this thing I told them was kind of bizarre, which is why they remembered it. I didn't necessarily tell all those people more than once, but he was there when I told those people because it was in a forum, a meeting. So he just looked me right in the eye. No, this is the first I've ever heard of that. I called another individual who's kind of like his, I guess you can call it colleague. He has the same job, but not on the property that we work. And I spoke with another individual at that other property who's kind of like my equal, I guess. And they knew about this third dynamic. His counterpart at the other property even said, "Oh, yeah, that's been going on for a while." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." I mean, I didn't go into any um, finger pointing like, "Well, your colleague, he claims he didn't know, and he's the one that should know." I didn't go into any of that. I didn't throw the guy under the bus to that level. But I mean, I was bewildered. I reminded him of our conversations, the meeting. He denied it all. Oh, it didn't happen. I'm like, man, you're not gonna make me think I'm crazy. I know you're a little offbeat. I know you're not all there. You see, some people, a lot of people. I mean, I don't know what you're dealing with. You've probably dealt with it before. A lot of people out there are really incompetent. They really are. You see these people walking around in certain positions of authority. They might have on a nice suit and tie, professional. They look and you smile. Look at this guy. He's looking pretty professional. This guy must got it on the ball. No, 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 no. A lot of these people are so freaking dumb and incompetent. And how they get in their positions, that's probably, that's could be another talk in and of itself. But this person was one of those, I mean, dumb. I'm talking about to a level, you're like, dang, it's like dumb, incompetent. I mean, they don't necessarily mean the same thing. Like, say, for instance, if a guy is incompetent, if you train him, he could catch on, and then next thing you know, he's no longer incompetent. But if he's dumb, and you have to keep repeating the same thing over and over and over, and each time they look at you like it's new, like you just now telling them for the first time, and you gauge the situation. It's like, okay, there's something wrong upstairs with the aptitude, the ability to retain information or whatever you want to call it. That's dumb. So dumb people can remain incompetent, but incompetent people might not necessarily always stay dumb. But I mean, to really get toward the subject matter, that's Satan. That's the devil. People who are incompetent in certain positions They're kind of like desperados in a sense that they hide behind their incompetence. Well, they use their incompetence. They're smart enough to use their incompetence to their advantage, like saying crap like, "Well, I didn't know," or "This is the first I've heard of it." They roll a dice, gambling that people will just accept that reasoning and not, as the Satan says, throw them under the bus. But people don't throw other people under the bus. Not usually. Incompetent people throw themselves under the bus. But the problem with incompetent people is that they have people surrounding them that are too chicken to do the right thing. I mean, depending on the position an incompetent person holds, a lot of people could suffer. Somebody has to speak up. Somebody's got to speak up. Why let one individual torment the whole group? Why not muster up just a tiny bit of courage and do the right thing? Bring the evil to the light. It'll disappear. But they're everywhere. I mean, I got the answer to my question because the people that surround the incompetent and support the incompetent, they're devils too. They're all devils. They're demons. And it gets confusing because you see these people walking around in human bodies and you make excuses for them. Oh, this person's overwhelmed. That person's stressed. This, that. No, that those are just clever excuses. When I oh, here's another one. Here's another one. When I confronted this demon and I reminded him, "Hey, man," and I said it. I'm like, "You're lying, dude. I told you. I told you what I told you last month, and you agreed. You're lying." And you know what he wanted to do? Hold another meeting. And I'm like, no, because at the last meeting, it was just a circus of dumb crap. It was so childish and Mickey Mouse. And I told him that that's why I didn't want to go to a meeting. Nothing's going to get solved. We don't need to figure out a system. We have a good system in place, a perfect system. We just need people to be able to pay attention, to be mindful, and to do their work like they're supposed to. That's what we need. That's the problem. And there are like people that are they're not really capable of being attentive to certain levels to where they can see a bigger picture, how they can see how their actions can affect other areas. There are really a lot of people out there that aren't that at that level to think beyond their personal little bubble. And then there are others who just don't give a rat's tail. They don't give a damn. They willfully neglect responsibility. And then, well, whatever happens, happens. This is the devil at work. Demons. And when I was telling this guy, hey, we had a meeting before and we got a perfect system. We just need people to follow through and work the system. This he said to me, Don't focus on the negative. We got to be positive. I'm like, that's a cop out. That's a cop out. Don't focus. That ain't, I'm just telling you a fact that happened. That's a cop out. Because when people tell you that, don't focus on the negative, let's just focus on the positive. When they tell you that, what they're really doing is trying to negate accountability, their own being accountable for what they've neglected willfully. That's all that is. These kind of people aren't capable of being positive anyway. So don't listen to them when they say, we got to focus on positive. No, don't listen to them. These people are evil. Just because somebody's walking around in a humanoid figure in a coat of flesh, that don't mean it's a human. They're demons and they're running wild and rampant and they are multiplying, taking human form. I learned today firsthand that the evil is real. The devil is out there and he's real. And man, he's freaking everywhere. Everywhere. I mean, I'm hoping you guys don't see this as a negative talk. I'm not posting this on the Spiritology grid, but man, interesting. Stay strong because the satanic energy, it's multiplying. It's growing more and more. It's like a fog that's getting thicker and thicker. And people are walking around in a daze and they're just being picked off. Their souls are being assimilated by the satanic force. Don't be one of them. Anyway, thank you for hearing me out. This is Dario Thomas, and I'm just going to continue to do what I've been doing. I Many of you know me, and many of you have read my books. I practice what's called spirituality, and I write the spiritology books. And I couldn't wait to get home to practice my spiritology, mental, and spiritual techniques to just release the demonic energy, that essence that tried to latch on to me today. I couldn't wait to get home to release it. And I did. And if you want to know what's being spiritual is all about, what you can do, well, first of all, no offense to anybody, but holy dance, no, that's not being spiritual. No, that's I know what that is, but I'm not gonna say for fear of offending anybody. Again, no offense. I ran into a monk of sorts, at least that what he called himself, tried to sell me a book, chant and be happy. I rejected it, but he was oh oh that's I I mean that as far as I can, my personal opinion, and trust me, I've tried so many systems. That's Not spiritual to me. Doing weird exercises, contorting your body, bending over backwards, and yoga. Uh, that's not spiritual to me. Again, just my personal opinion. You want to know how to be spiritual? Find a newborn baby, a small child, what, 2 years old or less. Find a small child and watch that child look at you and smile for no reason, just because it's happy to see you. Not because you're going to give him anything or her anything or, what have you. There's just something inside those children and they just project love naturally. If you want to be spiritual, study a small child like that. Hopefully, if you do, you'll learn some things. Nevertheless, there is an alternative. And yes, got to put it out there. The Power of Spiritology by Dario Thomas. That's my book. It can show you how to shake off those satanic forces. Anyway, y'all be blessed. Thank you.